Hello everyone, welcome back to the Knitting Fever YouTube channel. My name is Dana and today I am so excited. We're going to be discussing one of my new favorite yarns, and it is this yarn. This is the Louisa Harding Pouffe yarn. So I just discovered this yarn recently and it has quickly rose to the top as one of my absolute favorite fibers, and so I hope it'll become one of your favorites too after you learn a little bit more about it. Before we get into the review, I thought I would mention that I am wearing a cardigan I just finished knitting up with this Pouffe yarn. This is available on the Knitting Fever website if you're interested, and it is called the Corbett cardigan. It is knit up with both the colorway Berkeley and Savory from the Pouffe collection. It is absolutely just dreamy. I never want to take it off, and I've gotten so many compliments on it, so I thought I would mention that really quickly. If you're looking for something to make with this yarn in any colorway, this would be a wonderful option for you. So if you haven't heard about Louisa Harding before, let me give you just a little bit of backstory on her brand, and so you can kind of know what to expect when it comes to her yarns. So the words that kind of align with the Louisa Harding brand are timeless, accessible, and romantic. I definitely feel like Louisa Harding hits the romance on the head. All of these colorways and just really all of her yarns in general seem so romantic and lovely, and so I really do love that word for this brand. It is inspired by the renowned knit designer Louisa Harding, and the designs feature subtle shaping, delicate stitch pattern, and exciting fibers. Again, definitely agree with that. So let's go into more of what this fiber actually is. So this is going to be 90% extra fine merino wool and 10% nylon or polyamide. It is a number 6 bulky weight yarn, and you are going to get 100 grams in each ball, or 295 yards, which is an insane amount of yarn per ball. Just for reference too, this entire cardigan is knit up with just 1 ball of Berkeley and 1 ball of Savory, which is just so incredible. You don't usually get this much yardage per ball, so that is a huge plus when it comes to working with this yarn. Another huge advantage to this yarn is that since it is a number 6 bulky weight yarn, your project will build up so quickly. Whether you are crocheting or knitting this, you're going to definitely get through your project a lot quicker than usual, but also keep that drape, keep the airiness, the openness. This cardigan feels like it just weighs nothing. It feels like a cloud or a poof of air, literally is what it feels like, and that is one of my favorite things I have noticed while working with this yarn. On the Knitting Fever website, this yarn is available in 6 different colorways, and to be honest, I want every single one of them. So what you can expect from these colorways are that the yarn is of course soft and cuddly, and as I mentioned, works up extremely fast. The combination of extra fine merino wool with a little bit of the polyamide helps the durability of the yarn and will cuddle you up in warm comfort all season long. The recommended needle size for this yarn is anywhere from a 6.5 to an 8.5, and the recommended crochet hook size is going to be a 10 millimeter. For the test swatch of this yarn, I will be crocheting this with a 10 millimeter hook in case you're interested in knowing a little bit more about that, but I just cannot say enough good things about this yarn. I have worked with 4 different balls of the Louisa Harding Pouffe yarn, and every single one has been so wonderful. I've also found that they are extremely consistent all the way through. Every ball is the same. I have had no factory knots through any of the balls I've worked with. The center pull out of these is 10 out of 10 every single time. You do not find yourself fishing around in the middle of the ball to pull from, or if you work the outside of the ball in, it also works up incredibly easily and you won't find yourself getting all tangled up at any points. Another great thing about this yarn is how they mentioned earlier that the polyamide really helps keep the durability of this yarn. I can definitely attest to that. I at no points had time where my yarn snapped while knitting with it. I am someone who has a tighter tension, so sometimes yarns can tend to snap on me, and obviously that's not ideal, but it is something that happens. However, with this yarn, I did not have that happen at any point while knitting or crocheting with it either. Because this yarn is so open and airy, I think you could totally get away with this for a spring project too. For instance, I'm so interested in knitting something up with this Waldorf colorway. I have had my eye on this colorway since I learned about the Pouffe yarn, and I can't stop thinking about a project to make with this. I think this is a great yarn to use for cardigans, such as this one, oversized sweaters, maybe an off the shoulder moment, something like that, a shawl. Really, the options are endless. I think you could go anywhere with this yarn and you will create a absolutely show-stopping piece. Another really unique thing I wanted to mention about this yarn that I have personally noticed is that since it has these little fluff areas in it where you have some different color like fluff balls almost. This will help to mask any maybe mistakes or errors you might make in a project. So if you are newer to knitting, I would highly encourage you give this yarn a try. It is not hard to knit with. You can definitely see your stitches, but if you maybe have a loose tension in a couple stitches, or maybe you enter the stitch at the wrong point or something, you won't actually see it, because this yarn will help to kind of mask any mistakes. And that made me feel really confident going into knitting this piece. As someone who's not a super experienced knitter, I definitely found that this helped me with any of those kind of fears of mine. And on the flip side of that, if you are someone who knits a lot and you maybe have thought about trying out crochet, but you're kind of nervous to do so, I think this could be a great yarn to try crocheting with too, because again, if you mess up a stitch, nobody's really going to be able to know, and that's kind of peace of mind when you're trying something new, just in my opinion personally. So I'm really grateful I was able to use this yarn to help build up some confidence in my knitting and feel like I can tackle maybe more projects. So that was just a little thing I wanted to note while working up this swatch, is that I feel like it is a very forgivable yarn, and for that I also really love this yarn. I will say overall this yarn is quite uniform all the way through, so you don't have to worry too much about some spots getting wonky from being too thin or too thick. It's quite uniform. It just definitely has those little fuzzies every now and then, but that is part of what makes this yarn so incredible and so unique. But as I mentioned, this has slowly become my new favorite yarn, and I just have my eye on every single colorway in this collection. I find them all to just be so gorgeous. I would love to see this cardigan in another colorway, so if you end up being inspired to make one, please let us know in the comments, because I would absolutely love to see it and see how it works up. Other than that, I think that's all I have to share with you today when it comes to the Louisa Harding Pouffe yarn. I highly encourage you, if this is a newer fiber to you, to give it a shot, see what you think about it. And if you are familiar with a fiber similar to this, I would also recommend you giving this one a shot, because this just might be your new favorite yarn. Thank you so much guys for coming by today and clicking on the video and learning a little bit more about the yarn here at Knitting Fever. Don't forget to click that subscribe button before you leave today so you don't miss any other yarn reviews on all the exciting yarns we have over at Knitting Fever. If there's any other yarns you'd like to see swatched up or reviewed, please leave them down in the comments and we will do our best to get around to those. I absolutely love doing yarn reviews with you, so I'm always looking for recommendations on what you guys want to see worked up. Don't forget to check out this cardigan and this yarn both on the Knitting Fever website. Give this video a thumbs up and make sure you share it with your other crochet or knit friends who maybe need to find their new favorite yarn as well. And until next time guys, thank you again so much, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye!